Well, I just want to say this. It's great to be home. But I got to ask this question, is my penance for spending all this time down the road at the rival institution me with a picture on that wall and that hairdo from 1977? So when Mr. Beekman called me, I immediately called Jackie Joseph and said, why is your athletic director calling me? Does he want money? And she said, you need to call him back. I said, all right, I always do what Jackie says. And when he told me, I could only ask him one question. I said, do you know where I work? And he said he did. So I am really honored. And I have to tell you that I grew up probably barely 2 miles from here. I always wanted to go to MSU. I used to tell my mom as a little kid, I'm going to go to MSU, and I'm going to play football for Duffy Doherty. And I used to ride my bike out here to campus. I used to ride my bike to Forest Acres and look for golf balls. I still do that. But I went to Everett High School, as you all know, locally, and by the time I got into high school, and I was a good student, I was directed. I wanted to go to college. And it's when you could start being a female athlete. But kind of hit a rough patch. And my parents divorced. And I'm going to tell you, my transcript looked more like the end of the alphabet than the beginning of the alphabet. But thanks to two really amazing people, my mentors, Ann Johnson, who was my basketball coach at Everett High School, and she grabbed me by the ears and she got me straightened up, and Dr. Nell Jackson. And those two co-conspired, and somehow I made it into Michigan State. And I still consider one of the very greatest days of my life, the day I got my acceptance letter and said, congratulations, you're a Spartan. My mom, of course, said, well, how are you going to pay for it? And I said, don't worry, it'll work out. I'll get a scholarship. Well, you know, we didn't have scholarships. So I learned a little bit about financial aid. I worked on campus. I was the operator, a little like Lily Tomlin. Hello, and I'd plug them into usually the wrong outlet. But as my luck would have it, my sophomore year, I got a call from my softball coach, Diane Udelberry, and she said, we're going to give you a scholarship, and you're going to get $300, $100 a term to play softball. And I said to my mom, can you believe it? They're going to pay us to do this. She said, okay, it's not quite covering it, but she always told me, my mom said, you are the luckiest person I know. So I've always just been really thankful for all my good luck. But I'm most thankful for my family, the Hutchins. Everybody knows the Hutchins. They're all Spartans, by the way, except on softball Saturdays. Well, except for Renee. And I love you all, and thanks for being here, and thanks for always being here. Bonnie, my longtime associate, head coach, and partner, who is responsible for any success I've ever had as a coach down there at the other school. And I'm thankful, believe it or not, for Jackie Joseph. One of the reasons I'm here today, I'm certain. But she's a great colleague. She's a great member of our profession, regardless of what sport she coaches. She's always kept our alums close to the program. We won the championships in 1976, and we got our rings because of Jackie Joseph in 1995. And we're all grateful. All of your alums love you, Jackie. Thank you. So, Alan, I'll give you one piece of advice. I can give you a lot. Listen to Jackie. Listen to Jackie Joseph. So I'm thankful for Karen Langland. She came in when I was a sophomore, and I always remind her I was part of your first win ever at Michigan State, and I'm certain I'm the reason for her first loss. But she was the role model that I wanted to become. She was a true professional, a true teacher, and she was the person who made us better and pushed us into believing in ourselves. And Diane Udelberry, who was our softball coach, she was a field hockey coach, and I'm certain when she came here, they said, well, you're going to have to coach softball too. And we tortured her, we terrorized her, and we won the national championship. But she was supportive, she treated us all like gold, and she was a great, great person, so I love Diane for that. But mostly, I'm thankful for all my teammates. And I'm going to start with the 1976 softball team. that I hope one day is remembered by this Hall of Fame. We were a great softball team, and we were led by the greatest Spartan ever, the glue of that team, Gloria Bexford, who's in this hall, is here tonight. She was 5-0 as a pitcher in the Women's College World Series. The 1977 women's basketball team, and we went to the AIW National Championships, which would be a version of today's Final Four, only there were 16 of them. And we had some really great players on that team. Diane Spoolster, Kathy DeBoer. I actually really wasn't one of them. But all of the Spartan women that I played with over the years, they're the ones who make the memories, and really, when it's all said and done, is what it's all about. But we're all a part of the history of this university. Because all these women who competed and played in the 60s and the 70s, it's before we were technically varsity. They paid their own way. We had little to no support services or resources. We rode in station wagons driven by our coaches to all of our games. But we all loved the green and white. And all of those women are the reason that today's women have support services, resources, scholarships, charter buses, and charter planes. It's all those women that paved the way and fought a lot of battles, both on and off the field, and won. So let's hear for all those women. So I'm proud to be a part of that history in that era, because we made a lot of great advances for women in all sport. But as I said, Michigan State was my dream school, and I never thought of going anywhere else. And I learned all the values that I've taken with me all the way 60 miles south. But the greatest thing I learned is that this is about people. We're in a people business. We grow people up for a living. That's what we do in athletics. And that the greatest quality that you learn is perseverance. You learn to persevere when you're a student athlete. And you learn it because you learn it through failure, because the road through success runs through failure, and everybody has failure. It's what do you do with failure and how do you respond to it? And that's the mark of your character, and that's the mark of what makes great athletes and Hall of Famers. But the biggest quality you learn is humility. Sport humbles you. We've all been humbled by it. You've never been humbled unless you have Karen Langman chasing you around the Jennison Fieldhouse track. I can tell you that. But that's what we learn in athletics, and that's what we teach our student athletes, is some of the greatest lessons they learn and some of the best education they have. That's what I learned here in East Lansing, and I'm honored every day to be called coach. But I learned all those values being a student athlete at Michigan State University, and I am forever grateful to Michigan State. I'm grateful for this honor. Congratulations to all my classmates tonight. I'm honored to be a part of you, and forever go green.